Please take us through this story, this new regulation, and how it will take effect.
Before now, what had happened was that the NERC had worked with the distribution companies and came up with some methodology for estimated billing. And I'm a bit surprised now that there's a change in the attitude. Maybe because a lot of people are still complaining that the bills are a bit on the high side and they don't get enough energy. So one of the things they've said is customers unmetered customers R2 and C1, which is mostly residential, one phase to three phase meters for residential and commercial. There'll be a maximum amount that can be billed if they don't have meters.
Did they state the maximum
Yes,
amount?
the maximum amount is 78 kilowatts hour per month, meaning that whether you consume more energy or not, you would not be charged more than 78 kilowatts per month, which for me, I think it's a bit on the low side. That's my own personal opinion. However, I guess this is also to push the discos to ensure that they go about this metering as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
It started in May last year, and we still haven't seen or felt the impact of metering across the country. Which is a 3-year plan. We're 6 months down the line of the first year, and nobody is telling you that they have enough meters to go about. So I guess what they need to do is go back, sit down, strategize, and put out the funds that they require to put these meters in place so that they can actually generate more money or more income with the tariffs going up in April.
I don't know what differing opinion you have, because I would say that I'd rather that to what it was that I got from before, because I'll tell you this, I moved into my place about 6 years ago, my former place about 6 years ago, and I had no bill come through. As a citizen, a good citizen of Nigeria, I went to the office and said, I don't have any bill, but I've got power. They're like, how can that be? They came over and they said, what are we going to do now? They're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to come and inspect your house to see what equipment you have, and then we'll now start charging. I'm like, where does that where does it obtain that you just arbitrarily look at my resident and see the equipment I have or the home appliance I have, and then start to guess what it is I'm going to be consuming
they do
every month?
it in many parts, in some parts of the world.
That is-
However, in Nigeria, what the criticism this has come under is that it's been abused. So people have complained of exorbitant estimated billing, and they're saying that there's no way they've consumed that amount of power. And so what citizens have asked for, have called for, is metering. And we've heard a number of times that there's going to be a rollout, but we keep coming up with excuses, the reasons why. I mean, so many reasons why they've said they've not been able to meter homes. What I see from this report, and correct me if I'm wrong, Uade, is that they're almost, the NERC, as a regulatory commission, are coming to almost force their hands to meter homes, because they're saying that if you don't do it by this certain time, you're not going to be able to charge people up. What they've said in one of in the paragraph here is that residential customers who consume more than 50 kilowatt hour in a month, that's single phase and three phase, and small businesses will pay a tariff of 42 naira per kilowatt per hour. So in 1 month, they wouldn't charge 1,872 naira per month, so that's what they should have consumed, right?
That's the maximum that they can charge.
1,872
naira
now,
at 24 naira per kilowatt hour.
There are not many homes or small businesses that get a bill of 1,872 naira per month.
I don't think there's any business that gets a bill of 1,872
so
naira.
with this, they're saying that after April, which is the deadline, if they come and give you estimated billing, you shouldn't pay. They cannot, so estimated bill beyond this amount of money, you shouldn't pay, because it will be capped at this. Now, if the discos see that they are losing money, trust me, before we wake up on April, when is the deadline?
April 30.
Yes,
May 1.
May 1st. We all have meters now.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, what they're trying to do is force them to meet the agreed amount of metering position that had been agreed, that started on May 1, 2000.
agrees with you. NERC should place a time limit on when the discos provide consumers or customers with meters, Sharing here says nothing just works in this country with this new disco billing. With this new disco billing cap, the discos will simply not provide power and charge a flat rate of the maximum amounts they can.
No, you have to recognize that if once you're metered, it's fine. What they're not saying that after metering they should still have a cap on their billing system. They have a cap on estimated billing. So once you have a meter in your home, you can't say that you can't charge you beyond a certain amount.
Well, there's a limit to how much power that they can give to those who can actually pay for it.
All right, Time from Ikorodu says, seems the billing office in my area had a hint of this upcoming new rule because the level of billing I've received between November to now is astronomical. My application for a meter is now 3 months.
Oh, good for you. Mine is 3 years old.
Oh, gosh.
Yemi from Ikotun says the metering process is extremely cumulative and no customer care to handle exceptional cases. I was metered after 8 months. Until today, the meter is not working, which means I can't have lights. Have complained and no action. Metering is a hoax.
Well, thanks. Thanks for raising these issues. I hope they will also
sorry about your
this.
situation.
Yes, I hope they will address this. That's the NERC as well. Now, very quick story here from Premium Times. Buhari service chiefs in closed door meeting. Not much detail. However, we have an announcement, and hopefully we'll get details shortly.
We do hope so. At least he's talking to the service chiefs, and
something's getting done.
And then we'll find out what happens.
Exactly.
We'll probably get more details today from this story on what went on.
That's Premium Times by Buhari service chiefs in closed door meeting. More messages here. Zikolo says, my biggest issue with the disco is that consumers have to pay for meters that would be used to charge them. Why should I pay my bills and still pay for my provider's tool used to measure their charges?
Let me ask you a question. For your what's that? TV, digital TV. So do you pay for your?
You pay for the TV.
You pay for the decoder.
Of course you do.
Apparently, maybe the decoder is free.
Well, but in some cases, actually, they actually would give out these things because they know that the amounts that they are getting back will far outweigh whatever it is that you're paying
at Christmas.
Nah,
exactly.
Promo season.
39,000.
Moving on now, yes.
All right, yes, we move on. Next headline here: Buhari sets up Humanitarian Coordination Committee. Now, yesterday, Uade, I don't know if you're listening on the show, we talked about the fact that the NSIPs are being, what's the word that was used now? But they're being rolled out. If I could use that word. No, not rolled out. They're being phased out. Yes, phased out. That's the word. Now, we hear from this story from This Day newspaper that the president yesterday approved the constitution of a National Humanitarian Coordination Committee to oversee all humanitarian actions in the country. Will this be some sort of umbrella body for what was obtained in the past in terms of social intervention projects?
Well, for me, my greatest problem with the coordination of a lot of all these things is where you pick, where you are trying to face out one thing and bring in something else with a different name. And this is what I see with this humanitarian coordination committee. There's a ministry that is responsible for humanitarian affairs. What is their function? The people who work there, why do I need a committee that is going to be headed by the members of the committee, chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum, Minister of Defense, You don't need this. What you need is the coordinating ministry to work with these other ministries and all the other people and get the relevant things that need to be done. For me, this is just another way of telling us, okay, we're telling you to go out on this side, we're closing this door and opening another door. And it's another look at the members. What time the Minister of Defense, the Interior, Justice Minister of State for Budget. These are people that have so many things to do. They want to be sitting down once a month or once in 6 months to look at the overall things. Yes, I agree. It's important to have some form of advisory at the top, but the list of the people on the committee is so large that I'm wondering what's going on. What's the work of the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development?
What did you call it? A committee?
Yeah.
Come eat.
Come eat.
Well, Ngozi on WhatsApp seems to kind of share your thoughts. She says, she says, oh no, not another committee. Will they get sitting allowance? More money down the drain.
There you go.
All right, thank you very much.
Alrighty, now moving on to this story here. I think it's from the New Telegraph. Ease of doing business, robust collaboration would help improve business climate in Nigeria, says the VP of Sibenga himself. In a bid to secure the reforms agenda of the federal government, Vice President Ahimie Ese has said that robust collaboration between the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council and the Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission would help to improve the business climate in Nigeria. He also noted the point of contact that actually these perhaps maybe corrupt exercises are carried out. He zeroed them down to, let me find that list here. He said the point of contact is really the sort of approvals for ID cards, passports, customs officials, police, and so on and so forth. He also noted that our ranking as our anti-corruption ranking internationally also has to be affected as well. Whether local or foreign investors, these are actually the points where you know that things begin to look a bit fishy when it comes to doing business in Nigeria.
See, the ease of doing business in Nigeria is, I guess the easiest way to put it is let businessmen actually do business the way business is meant to be done, and let the regulators, create the enabling environment by putting in the right policy. This collaboration with ICPC, I don't know why all of a sudden the council just woke up and realized that they could share information with ICPC on alleged corrupt people or corrupt practices or corrupt engagements and things like that. But I guess it's a starting point for going forward. Hopefully the ICPC will not be bogged down with Uade being put on the pages of the newspaper as a corrupt official, and the ICPC is investigating another 100-200 people.
Who the targets are? Is it the little man like you, corrupt Uade, or is it the person who's up there taking billions out of Nigeria's reserves?
Well, it depends on who wants to do business easily. Well, maybe the one on top has already gotten there, so his ease of doing business is easier than the likes of me. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of all these things are just being done in haphazardly, and rather than having a central point that coordinates it properly.
Yeah, I do think though that the Ease of Doing Business, Business Made Easy Committee, or the CSA to the President on Ease of Doing Business is one of the Nigerian officials that we have to commend, as well as that parastatal, because they have consistently measured wins, and they have consistently demonstrated just how much they have done with regards. It's not enough for many Nigerians, because of course what obtained initially was could be termed as chaotic. So the level of work, partnerships, collaborations, getting MDAs to work together to ensure that somehow, some way, we are able to easily do business in Nigeria must be commended. That's one thing I think we need to do.
I agree with you, but my to a large extent, on the ease of doing business scale, Nigeria has really gone up over the last 3-4 years. There are still some glitches here and there, and that's why I said it's never too late to start to provide information to the ICPC on areas that you feel people are not doing the right thing.
So for instance, and this is where the ICPC comes in, you want to register your business and you're asked to pay bribe at the CAC, you can report the officials at that level to the ICPC. You get to the airport, because they are present in almost, the number of MDAs at work, to achieve this, and so there are a number of high profile people that you can actually report, and it's good to see that there's a channel where it will be followed through. And
just to add, just the last thing to add, sometimes it's always important that we do these things, like Ayo said. Just make that complaint. You never know. Someone just might act.
Well, we're a complicit society because we've been desensitized. We've been beaten so much. We're like, it's another beating now. We'll just take this one and join. Do we have messages on?
Yes, Tunde, thank you very much for your comment. Tunde says the Ministry of Disaster has multiple functions. One part is social investment, another part is humanitarian and disaster. The SIP, that's the social investment program, is going to be overhauled, not stopped. Thanks.
Alrighty.
All right. We move on to the next story, and this one was quite popular, not popular, but infamous story, on popular story yesterday from This Day newspaper. 3 fair dead as Shagamu residents clash with police over footballers' deaths. Some people might have seen the hashtag NSAS trending again yesterday.
All over again.
Once in a while it trends. I know that once it starts trending, they have misbehaved again. And this happened unfortunately in Shagamu, Ogun State, as the police, 3 persons, including policemen, were yesterday feared dead as scores of protesters flooded the streets of Shagamu to register their grounds over the death of Kazim Tiamiyu, a footballer who was allegedly killed by officials of the Zonal Intervention Squad in the state. Mazino, you shared what happened.
I talked about it earlier today. The videos were very, very disturbing. You could actually see members of, uniformed men. I don't exactly, it hasn't been confirmed, but uniformed men dispersing crowds, shooting into the air. There's also a report that, somebody got gunned down apart from the person who initially was killed.
You know, it's really unfortunate. First and foremost, my sincere sympathy goes to the family of the late footballer. It's amazing the way we police our people in Nigeria, and it doesn't just happen in Nigeria, but sometimes the extent to which some things are done, and this is a sad story. It's turned out to lead to other deaths and other protests here and there. And I think with the Inspector General trying to intervene by sending in the DIG in charge of the area to take over the investigation, I guess we're heading in the right direction. And I hope they will be transparent in the way they go about the investigations. And it's just another sad story coming out.
There is a modus operandi for SARS, which I think is good. The public is aware. They are also aware. In the past 2 years, the End SARS movement has made people very aware to this, and this has been stated in many outings by the authority. But it would still seem like as if these operations, let me put that in quote, are still going on, and it's unabated.
Well, the bad eggs will always be the bad eggs. But once anything happens, you blame the whole force. And that's how it is. So that's why I said, in terms of this, I hope they would go into details and get a thorough investigation done to ensure that if these guys had done the wrong thing, that they face the consequences of their actions.
One of the criticisms that the police came under for yesterday largely was that there was a peaceful protest, protesting the killing of the footballer, and then in order to disperse the crowd, the police came out with loaded weapons and they shot into the crowd. And a number of people are asking questions that why would you shoot at people to disperse a crowd, largely unarmed people? And then we know that oftentimes you want to cause, we have tear gas. We can use tear gas. We can shoot in the air. Why?
Bullets, perhaps.
Why do we shoot at
the
people?
irony of it is that the process for dispersing or ensuring that there is a peaceful protest going on is to ensure that the police tries to escort the protesters
Let me come at you
to the point at which they get to.
Is it the responsibility of SARS to actually disperse a riot? Or
No. There's a different unit for that.
So they had no business there.
And sometimes you would say that the protest had not been duly registered with the police for it to go on. But these are people who are protesting an action that they felt was wrong by the police. And so for me, I think the right unit should have been sent there to speak to them and tell them, okay, don't worry, these things are being looked into and a proper investigation will be carried out and will be transparent. But having to send armed policemen with live bullets,
anti-robbery squad,
it's amazing.
Messages, Ayo?
Yes.
Or do I move on to the next story?
Yeah, we have 1 or 2 messages with regards to the metering story. From Twitter, Mohammed Tajuddin says, who owns the meters after I have paid for it? So that's with regards to why should they be the ones to pay for it? And our understanding is that the discos actually, Uade confirmed that the discos actually own the meters.
The meters belong to the residents.
So not the discos. Because
it's the discos, but it's part of the, once the meter is fixed in the resident, then it's part of the infrastructure.
Homes, will they move my meter?
The expectation is all homes would have been metered. So what happens is that if you move homes, you would
Switch ownership.
you would switch ownership. So the name on the new meter
Would be
would
yours.
change because the addresses have changed.
Because people are complaining on WhatsApp. I see your comments. Thank you very much. Because they're asking that why would we compare the meters to satellite TV dishes, decoders?
After when I
that's
move
you
home,
want-
I take my
yes,
satellite
you can
satellite
resell and all
decoder.
that. So I just needed to confirm that.
Well, the meters are part of the residence ones.
State
Yeah.
infrastructure.
In real fact, it's the owner of the
Mm.
property that is supposed to ensure that those meters are paid
Quite
for
true, actually.
and available
Quite
at the
true.
point before the tenant moves in.
Very true.
Thank you.
All right, now moving on. A new telegraph here, still on the police matter here, but this time Amotekun. Public hearing, Lagos stakeholders endorse Amotekun seek proper recruitment. This might come as a measure of the frustration in the or lack of trust in the security apparatus that we have currently, because even the Christian Association of Nigeria, by a representative, have come out to endorse Amotekun. A security consultant and analyst, Mr. Dixon Osage, also the chairman of the People's Democratic Party, has also come out to endorse Amotekun. So, Uade, what's your take?
Yesterday I just before I started listening to Freshly Pressed, I listened to another press review on
It's
it.
okay, you're not very loyal, but it's okay. Go
I
on.
was like, what?
Before it was before
It's
Freshly
all right,
Pressed.
it's all right.
And I heard about the bill that is being presented for state policing. Do you understand? And I guess this is the beginning of it all. With everybody telling you that the level of insecurity in the states or across neighborhoods are extremely high. So I guess everybody is in the direction that let's protect ourselves and let's set up the system for local community policing in the right manner. So this for me is just what everybody wants.
But with all the endorsements that are coming through, there's still plenty of room for misuse, it would seem. And this is also an argument out there. There are sentiments, there are religious sentiments, there are ethnic coloration. There's so much. Aren't these now? We're not looking at that now, and we're not too concerned with that now because we're overly concerned about the insecurity. However, these are little factors that should.
Yeah, but
taken into
remember that at the end of the meeting with the Attorney General with the state governors that are in charge of who have set up this Amotekun, there is supposed to be a proper what's it called,
Process.
legal framework that would drive this, that would be agreed to by all the states
Who's being
and
recruited? How?
yes, and
trainings they
the
have to
federal
go through.
government. So currently the bill is just to first and foremost agree to the fact that this can be put in. This is a law that sets up Amotekun. But all those finer details, I'm sure, are being worked out between the state attorney generals and
Let's
the
hope they're
attorney
not
general
rushed
of the
over,
federation.
because they are monsters on their own if they are let to just.
And I guess that's one of the reasons why the federal government first and foremost kicked against it, and they sat down and looked at the modalities going forward.
All right, thank you very much. We have some more comments. Honestly, the metering story is one of the biggest for today, and I guess we will be taking this on to Lagos Talk 91. So if we are not able to read your comments now, please join us at 9 a.m. for Lagos Talk 91.
Zikolo here says, unfortunately, the police force seems to support these incessant and unjust killings of Nigerians by not being transparent with the sudden investigation anytime things like this happens. Can anyone tell what happened to those SARS guys that killed an innocent citizen at Ikoton last year? What about the police officer that killed a guy at Mangoro area while watching football last year? They should know that one day the police would be tired of taking this injustice, or the people rather will be tired of taking this injustice. And I think a measure of that is the protest that was in Shagamu yesterday. It's the same frustration.
Yes, absolutely. All right, thank you very much. We have more stories, one or two more stories.
Okay. Let's take a look at this one here. Reps from the New Telegraph. Reps, workers still collecting salaries 14 years after closure of mining corporation. These parasitals or individuals who run or ran them have been summoned. However, it's the story tells that they have been evading the summons It goes on to tell 14 years after its closure, some workers of the Nigerian Mining Corporation, JOS, have been receiving salaries from the government. Chairman of the committee, Honorable Wale Oke, disclosed this at an ongoing investigation into the deliberate refusal of the agencies to appear before it. It tells about specific general manager, finance of the Nigerian Mining Corporation, Mr. Dauda Ibrahim Gambo. He had told them that the committee that the agency was closed for privatization and that they were asked to collaborate with the BPE for a successful privatization of the place. Uade.
Who is at fault? When I look at this story, it's quite amazing. 14 years ago, they had been scheduled for privatization. So it's expected that the agency will work with the BPE. And if 14 years after, they have not been privatized, I find it difficult for you to say they've just been collecting salaries 14 years after they've been, they've been shut down. They haven't been shut down. The shutdown comes at the point at which they become a private company, not in the process. So if they are still in the process after 14 years, then you should call the BPE to find out why it's taking so long for them to finish that process. My personal opinion, and I guess those are the things we have to look at. So the man is right that they are still collaborating after 14 years.
All right, thank you very much. George Kobani on WhatsApp on the Amotekun story says a regional level security effort will take away the arbitrariness and the risk of political pocketing of a state level effort. It's great that state attorney generals are going at this together. This could be indeed progress.
Okay. Final story, and we are out of time, but let's just push this one in there. From this day newspaper, oil prices slumped to $56 as coronavirus spreads globally. Wadi, real quick, you want to run through that one before we end the show?
Well, the only thing I see is it's the effect on Nigeria,
yes.
And at budget of 55, I think it was $55 or $57 per barrel. We're already shooting ourselves in the foot, and the coronavirus is really not going away very quickly. So let's see what happens.
Please don't say that. Please speak.
Well,
it's one thing to speak, but the reality is it's gone to Iran. So it's gone to Iran. So you can imagine. And
well, you talked about the budget, and I hope I can summarize. You talked about the budget where we've placed our benchmark. You'd think that maybe there is some contingency type situation that we plan for just in case situations like this happen. The external inside of the budget.
The external loan we're trying to get.
Okay, I guess that's it then. That summarizes it. Well, Lagos, thank you very much for being a part of Freshly Pressed this morning, and Uade especially, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lagos.
At Reinknigeria, you can continue the conversation with him and with us here as well at Smooth981 FM up on Twitter, hashtag Freshly Pressed 981. Inside the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking about one of these stories, and we will be expecting that you send in your messages then and input as well, as we always enjoy those. So stay tuned. We are Smooth 98.1. It's been Mazino Appeal
and Ayo Mairo Ese.
And Uade. We're smooth.
Okay.
Thank you very much for being the only analyst and carrying us through.